Hey everybody, and welcome to the Brandon and Wife
Diana review show.
Today we're going to be doing a Stranger Things season review. Unfortunately, Ishmael is too young to watch Stranger Things, so I had to bring my wife in to watch it. We're big fans of the show. What did you think of the season 3?
I think it was really good. Overall, everything. I think it was good.
Compared to the first 2 seasons, do you think it was like the best, middle? Eh.
I honestly don't have any favorites. I mean, I think all the three of them are really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it had more about the monster. Literally every episode had more of the monster than the other ones. But I think all the 3 seasons are good.
Yeah, it was good to get away from Will a little bit. That poor kid had been tortured and literally was beaten up and almost killed in the first 2 seasons. So it was good to see them kind of get away from Will a little bit and kind of expand on the other characters.
Yeah, it was. It was because I do like Will. Will is, I don't know.
A good character.
Yes, he kind of plays really good his role as Will.
Yeah,
I think he's really cute too.
Yeah, it seemed like this episode, a lot of him showing him was like when he was getting the goosebumps and kind of he was like showing that the mind flare was still around or when his presence was felt.
Yeah.
But yes, we start off the episode whenever they're showing the Russians trying to reopen the portal and reopen the gate. At first, we really don't know
who they were, though. We didn't know who they were. We just knew that someone was trying to open the door. We didn't know that. I mean, they didn't expose that it was Russians until.
Yeah, until they went outside and you saw the flag and everything. But I think they had the uniforms and everything. You kind of knew they were Russians. Kind of got the hint, but yeah, you really didn't officially know till they walked outside and you saw the flags. But the one Russian guy shot the one guy in the head when they weren't able to open the portal and told the other guy, basically, it's your job. You have a year to fix it, or you're gonna get shot.
Alexandra, the guy you're talking about. The guy that got killed, right?
Yeah, I don't remember his name, to be honest.
It was Alexandria, mm-hmm. I think something like that.
We'll have to check our facts on that one.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yes, then it shows a year later at the Court Mall. It shows how the mall has just been opened and shows protesters and shows a bunch of the other shops that have been closed down because the mall has come in and basically taken all the business from like the small mom and pop shops.
Right. And I mean, I guess because it was becoming more popular, all the people were like going there since it was just like in one place.
Yeah, just like a new phenomenon, a big new thing, and I mean,
like a mall.
I mean, that's just such a small town, you get a big mall, it's a big thing,
And you think about it, it was like back then in the 80s, late 80s, early 80s, or late 80s.
Yeah, it was around, I think it was around 84.
Early 80s.
It was 84 whenever they showed the Russians, it was 85 when they showed the mall, so yeah. Early or mid 80s.
Mid 80s. So you need to think about it. Back then, they didn't have all these, big malls, so they were kind of starting. It's not like nowadays that, you can see big malls and it's not like a big deal.
Yeah, like I said, especially in that little town of Hawkins. Don't know exactly how many people are there, but we know there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in this small town. It's wild there.
Everybody knows everything.
Not everything. They don't know about all the aliens and the monsters and all the portals being open underneath the mall and the city. But then we also see Mike and 11 at the cabin with Hopper peeking in the door, being creepy. And then 11 shuts the door in his face, but it's kind of showing how they're liking little. They're not teenagers, right?
Yes, they are.
Were they teenagers?
Yes.
Little teenage puppy love. And then it shows Hopper being uncomfortable.
Well, he was being a dad. It's just like you.
Yeah, that won't happen. I won't allow boys in my house with my daughter. So that won't fly with me. Then it shows, Then it shows Hopper and Mike in the truck after 11 shut the door in his face, and he's like, what do you say, like 6 inches or 3 inches? Need to keep the door open.
Yeah. I think it was 3 inches wide. open.
Yeah,
Crack.
basically, yeah, don't have that door closed, basically. Yeah, but they're just teenagers rebelling and young kids, and then Hopper basically is going to go take Mike home and basically threatens him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make him lie to 11 about his grandma, that his grandma is...
Yeah, his grandma's sick.
Very sick, but it's actually not truth, and that's how 11 and Mike start getting, problems in their relationship.
Yeah, well, that happens a little bit later, but yeah, we just basically just show him kind of threatening him a little bit, just saying maybe I'll allow you to continue to date my daughter if you follow the rules. And yes, and then we show Dustin returning. I think he was at summer camp, and it was funny whenever they showed him in his room, and then all his toys start walking out into the living room.
Yeah, and he was freaking out. It's funny how he brought this hairspray,
Mm-hmm.
and started spraying. Who did he spray? Was it Mike or Lukas? Oh, it was Lukas.
Yeah, no, it was Lukas. Yeah, all the toys start moving and everything, and he's like wondering what the heck is happening. Is this aliens or monsters again? And then he walks out, and then they scare him from behind. Yeah, and he sprays Lukas in the face with the hairspray.
Yeah. That's how it started.
That's how he has his fancy hair, is all that hairspray.
The hairspray, just like Jonathan, right? No. What's the... Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's, well, that comes later whenever they go up to the, he wants to show them that his radio tower, basically. They go up with him to the hill, and he goes and builds his radio tower because he says he has a girlfriend now, Susie.
Yeah, and nobody believes him.
No.
And he talks to Steve and, try to tell him about her.
No,
and
that's later.
Oh, that's later. I'm sorry. I'm jumping in. But anyways, yeah. Nobody believes him because they went and waited for a long time.
Yeah, they basically waited like all night, but before that, 11 and 11 and Mike, they just take off. As soon as they go up there, they're just taking off. Like, what's the point of it?
Well, they always take off. Like even when, they do something with everybody, they just like, all right, we had something to do. And it's just because they want to go make up and kiss in the bedroom.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense for them to walk all that way. Then just, bye, we're going to leave. Then we're going to walk all the way the heck back. I don't know. That part didn't really make sense to me.
They just wanted to be alone.
Well, they should have just stayed alone from the beginning instead of making that big walk up there. I don't know. That part was kind of weird to me. But yeah, basically, Dustin the whole night was trying to get a hold of the girl. Wasn't successful. And then before that, when they were walking, you saw all the rats. And then it ended up showing by the end of the episode, all the rats were going to the mill. And they all exploded into some disgusting goo.
But I'm going to stop you there because Will was there too with Dustin and Mike and 11. And Will actually felt something in there, but he didn't say anything.
Did he? I don't remember that.
When they were, he felt something, but he didn't say anything. When they were like carrying the stuff up to the hill, he felt like those little goosebumps that he
chills on the bumps.
Yeah. But he didn't say anything, and then he ended up saying that he needed to go home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't exactly remember that part. Yeah, and then we also got to see Billy again. He's working as a lifeguard. We got to see him walking out with his shirt off. I guess looking all hot. All the old ladies were checking him out. And then the funniest part
especially
Karen.
Nancy's mom.
It was Karen, right?
Yeah, Nancy's mom. Nancy and Mike's mom.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the funniest part whenever he blows the whistle, the whole swimming pool stops, and then hey, Lourdes! And that little fat kid, he's running. He's like telling him to stop running or he's going to get banned from the pool. I was like, that's kind of harsh. Just because he's running, he said, you want to get banned, Lourdes?
It was just funny the way that scene happened, especially when he started coming out from the back, I guess from the lockers.
Yeah. And
it's like in slow motion and they put Karen, kind of like checking him out.
Yeah, like all the old ladies are like freshening up and checking their hair and makeup before he comes out.
They're in the pool.
They're like, it's time. It's about that time. They know exactly when he walks out to take his post.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah, but yeah, we see Billy talking to Karen, and then they eventually set up like a date. He's trying to get her to, he's trying to coerce her into meeting up with him so he can teach her the breaststroke and all this corny stuff. You know how that goes.
I don't even know what the breaststroke is, but anyways.
But he sets it up where he's gonna meet her that night, and then we see what happens whenever he goes to meet her. Well, she doesn't end up going. She ends up going
No,
downstairs.
she is actually preparing herself to go.
Yeah, she was getting ready to go, but she changed her mind.
Yeah, she changed her mind. She definitely wanted it, but
Yeah.
she changed her mind because she saw her husband and the kiddos, and I mean, I guess she's not gonna expose her marriage, or just for one, you know,
With that nerdy, unattractive guy.
with the little kid, I guess.
You see that in a lot of TV shows, like Married with Children, Family Guy, even though it's a cartoon. You see the fat, ugly guy, the nerd guy with the very pretty wife. Very unrealistic. But yeah. Well, she doesn't end up going, but Billy is going to see her. Then he ends up crashing his car because something hits his car, breaks the windshield. I think it's at the beginning of the next episode was whenever he sees the vision of himself, the doppelganger, and it's actually the mind flayer telling him. I think he said to build it.
Build what?
Exactly. Well, we don't exactly know what they mean at that time. And then we eventually get back to Mike, and I think, was 11 calling him, or was it Max that was calling?
To who?
Well, I think 11 was calling him, trying to figure out. I think he had been missing for a couple days, not, kind of avoiding her because of what Hopper said.
No, actually, 11 was trying to call him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I said.
And he was ignoring her calls.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to tell his mom that, he wanted to talk to her or something.
Yeah, he was telling 11 that his grandma was sick. I think that was the time when he was saying, like, oh, my grandma's sick, I need to go see her in the hospital and all that.
Right, and he needed to start spending time with his grandma.
Yeah. Which I'm sure 11 was like, that doesn't sound right.
I mean, she didn't seem like that. She was just like, okay. But then she went and started hanging out with Max more. And then Max started telling her, kind of like opening her eyes. Because 11 is not, I don't want to say, she's very naive because she hasn't been exposed in the world like that. And this is, I guess, her first boyfriend ever.
Yeah, she's
and
not
I don't
a
even
real
think
human,
she
basically.
really, like, she's kind of like an alien.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Basically.
But, then when it's Max start talking to her and, kind of like giving her advice, girls advice, and telling her, things that she should ignore, she shouldn't pay attention or take it too, what's the word that I'm trying to say?
Serious?
Right, not too serious.
Yeah, because they end up showing Max calling Mike, and that's when he was like kind of trying to make up the excuses and all that. And then Max was like, well, let's just go hang out. Then I think they ended up going to like the mall and stuff after that.
Yeah.
But yes, then we got to see Jonathan and Nancy. I think it starts off at was it Jonathan's house? And then Nancy was like sneaking out the window.
The walking shame.
Yeah.
Walk with shame.
You can see their relationship is still progressing. They're still together, and then it shows them they're working at the newspaper as interns.
Together, right? He was like the photograph, or the picture, whatever. How do you call it? Photographer, and she was more like, she wanted to be a reporter, but they have her more as doing all the dirty job that nobody wants to do, like going and get the food. Pretty much they have her like as the guinea pig kind of thing.
Like go for this, go for that.
Right.
Basically. And she kind of ends up picking up on a story with the lady Miss Driscoll, because she was reporting something about Was she reporting about the rats, or she was reporting something, which we end up getting to Miss Driscoll a little bit later?
Yeah. No, well, the way that she got, because Miss Driscoll actually called the news telling, about the rat and that something was wrong with it. And that's how um, Nancy went to her house.
Yeah.
Because Nancy actually was trying to talk to the guy that later on he ended up being, like part of the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was trying to talk to him and telling him about the story, that she had a story she could go, and he was like, no, that
Yeah, just making fun of her basically. Like,
right,
just know your place and just stay
right
in the kitchen.
And plus, they were
basically
saying something about the lady, that the lady is not stable.
It's crazy, basically.
Right, basically. But
yeah, and then we see Max and 11, like we were talking about a little bit earlier. They were at the mall. You saw them like changing clothes. She was basically trying to introduce 11 into fashion and showing her different ways to dress, because a lot of times she was just dressing like a boy.
I don't think she was teaching. I don't think she was like. I think she was just make her understand her style. That's what she said. Like she like to have her own pick. Like her own style, the clothes that she would choose, not just to let other people to pick clothes for her or to tell her how to dress or how to act or stuff like that. Because she's always being told what to wear, how to act, and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically she just kind of had her own choice, and she's just kind of showing her like kind of what's in fashion, and she just kind of picked out what she wanted
to be more independent. Let's put it that way.
But they ended up running into Will, Mike, and
Lukas.
Yeah, Will, Mike, and Lukas at the mall. And then they were like, so what happened with your grandma and all this? Basically caught him in a lie.
Will couldn't say Mike couldn't say anything. He was just like, didn't know what to say. Then they just took off, or that he tried to, I don't remember, that he tried to make a lie in there, or no?
Yeah, I think so. Like, oh yeah, I do have to go take care of my grandma now. And then she ended up.
But she went and told. That's when Max told him, tell me. A-C-C.
Yeah. Well, I do remember, because I was watching rewatching some of the episodes. That was when they went outside.
Yeah. And
then there was like a bus, and she was like, "I dump your ass."
Right. He was so funny, and he was like, "Did she just dump?"
He didn't know. He didn't know what to say. He was shook. You're like, what just happened?
Right. He wasn't expecting that she was gonna actually, I think, do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we see we saw Joyce talking with Hopper at her store, because he was like kind of explaining like about the kids.
Asking advice.
Yeah, he basically didn't know how to handle it with 11 and Mike, and yeah, basically just asking her advice, and then he ended up asking her out on a date.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't turn out good, because.
But that's before. That's after she started telling him about the magnets and stuff, and then he was just like.
Yeah, that was a part of it. Yeah,
he was just throwing her off, kind of like, that kind of stuff happens. Sometimes the magnet just, loses the magnetism and stuff. And, she was like actually trying to explain him that she wasn't going crazy, that something was wrong. Like she could feel it. But anyways, I think it was just throwing her off, not trying to pay attention of the situation. Until she decided to go that same night that they were supposed to go. Yeah. But she never said yes, though. But anyways.
She basically didn't say no, but yeah. But yeah, she ended up. Him up. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she ended up going to the science teachers.
It was for a good cause.
Yeah, because even the magnets were on her fridge, and at her job, I think the magnets were coming off. But
that's why she got concerned.
After all the things that have happened, why would you think somebody's crazy? I think I would believe her,
I don't think he thought she was crazy. I just think that he thought that she was just giving too much, of like attention to it. like too much. Like sometimes you tell me, like I overthink things, and it's not even that. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, but she ends up going to see the science teacher. I don't exactly remember his name. He was the science teacher from the kids. But yeah, he ended up explaining to her that some kind of big electromagnetic shock or something had to happen for the magnets to lose power, and that's why she kind of ended up getting suspicious about, somebody could have been doing something to cause that.
Especially because she said it happens after when the light went off. Remember? And there was like a big power
surge.
Yeah.
We end up getting back into that later with Hopper and Joyce about the magnets and White Sutter. But it was funny when he was just sitting there. Then he ended up drinking like a whole bottle of wine, just getting drunk all by himself. And then he just ended up walking out and just like, I'm the chief of police. I can do whatever I do.
And he was driving too.
I guess you can drink
and drive.
You can drunk drive when you're the chief of police. That's nice, right? We all want our chief of police to be drunk driving, right?
No,
that's awesome, right? Cops can do what they want, but we can't. No. But yes, then we got to see Dustin reuniting with Steve. And then we got introduced to a new character, Robyn.
I like Robyn.
Yeah, she's cool.
She was pretty cool. She was funny. I think her character is really funny, especially when she had the board for Steve. You know how he's like kind of like a chick magnet that he think he is with his hair, and he's so cute and everything.
Yeah.
And she has a board of all the girls that he talks and kind of like flirt with them and see if they go on a date with him.
It was like
she has the
loser and then
they go for it.
Winner or something like that. But he had no winners. It was all losers.
Of them, they were losers because all the girls literally turned him down. And then his excuses because he wears a stupid hat and he cannot show his hair.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was funny how she interacted and like her character was the way that she did it and everything. I really did like her character.
Yeah, she's got very famous parents. Remember who her parents are?
Uma something.
Uma Thurman.
And I don't know her dad though.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. I don't even know what movies he's being actually.
Training Day. He was with Denzel Washington in Training Day.
Oh, you remember the white guy? Yes. Yes, the one that actually he was a bad cop, right? He was a good
cop, but Denzel was a bad cop. The reason why Dustin was going to see Steve, and you got to see them reconnect and do their secret handshake and their hug and everything. And Dustin, what we forgot to mention earlier is whenever they were going to the tower, they were actually hearing some. They actually intercepted the Russians'
Dustin
communication.
By himself.
Yeah.
It was only Dustin by himself because everybody else had already left by himself. He was just sitting there waiting for, what was her name? Lucy? The girl that he likes? Oh, the girlfriend?
No, it wasn't Lucy.
Oh, anyways, his girlfriend. We have brain farts right now. Okay, anyways. Dustin, when he was waiting for his girlfriend to talk to him in with the radio.
Susie.
Sorry. Yeah, Susie. When he was waiting for Susie to call him or talk to him.
Yeah.
He actually intercept. Is that the right word? Intercept?
Yeah, the Russians' communication.
Well, he didn't know it was a Russian. He just thought, it was like just any kind of, like a radio or...
Yeah.
He was just intercepting some station. So he started listening very closely, and then...
I think he ended up writing it down.
No, he recorded.
He had a recorder?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I can't remember if he wrote it or recorded it, because then he took it to Steve and Robyn.
He recorded it because I remember that Robyn later on, because he wasn't asking Robyn for help. She's the one who actually jumped into their conversation. when they were talking and he was telling him because Steve couldn't break the code, and then she was like, "I can help y'all. I speak a little bit of."
Yeah, she actually
Russian.
understood some of it, and then she had the recorder and she was writing it down, and she was one who actually ended up decoding it because she knew a couple of the words they were saying and the little code words and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it was not like it was just words, you know. It wasn't like they were having a fully conversation. You know, they were just saying words, kind of like the Chinese
something about like a shoe and a cat and something because they ended up being like the restaurants, like it was like the coordinates.
It was the coordinates of the, you know, where the first and go the second.
And then something with the clock. It was like where blue meets the 9, or I don't remember exactly.
Something like that. They were just giving some codes. So how is it gonna be? But yeah, she ended up breaking the code, and that's how she kind of like joined in the group.
Right. Became part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got to see after Billy got kind of transformed by the mind flayer, kind of became one of his servants. Then he went back to went back to the pool. And then he ended up seeing a girl named Heather. She was like trying to check on him because he wasn't acting right. And then that's when he like basically just knocked her out and basically ended up kidnapping her.
Yeah. He ended up taking her to the, wasn't like the place where the mind flayer was?
Well, no, they actually went back to their house because remember, 11 ended up finding his car, and then they went back and they found the bathtub full of ice, and they actually found her little fanny pack.
No, honey. First, actually, he took her to the mind flayer, and then he took her to her house and put her in the bathtub. Because otherwise, how would he take her home? He doesn't have the powers to do anything to her. So he took her so the thing would like get in her mouth, and then he took her to the house and put him in a cold bathtub.
No, because they went to their house because remember she was telling 11, you might find something you want to find, and then they were looking for the ice in the bathtub. They saw the packets, and then 11 was asking, what's this for? And she was like, it's probably for his muscles. He works out like a machine or a madman. Yeah, so I think it was in his room at their house.
Yeah, but that was after he took her to the mind flayer.
Well, I don't exactly remember if he took her to the mind flayer then, but I do remember them going to the house. And then, like I said, they found the bathtub and they found the ice packets full of water. And then, like I said, Max was asking her, or 11 was asking Max about the ice, and she was like, well, it's probably just for his muscles. He works out like a madman. And then they found the fanny pack in the trash, and it was like covered in blood, I think.
Yeah, because Max was asking her to spy on Bill.
Yeah, to find Billy. They found his car and everything. And she ended up walking, saw the car, and then she saw him like bent over somebody, and then heard a girl's voice. And like I said, whenever they found the lifeguard's fanny pack, that's when they went back to the pool and asked if that was anybody's, and they said,
right, it's Heather's.
One of the girls was missing. It was Heather's, yeah. And then we got to see Will, Mike, and Lukas. They were all in their room. It was in the basement, and then of course.
It was in Will's house.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, no, Will's house. It was Mike's.
Yeah, they were in the basement playing the little game, and then Will was all into it, but Mike and
Lukas.
Yeah, but Mike and Lukas were all into the girls. They were like, why did she break up with me? What's up with girls? They're like not even the right species and all this. And then that's 11 was doing a lot of spying in this season. That's when 11 was spying on them, and he's like, we're not the same species, and she was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's and actually, she got mad, and because Max was like, we're not the same species. What is wrong with them?
Yeah, what are they talking about? And then they were like farting and burping. And they were like, oh, gross.
And then Will left really upset because, he doesn't have a girlfriend, and I think he's younger than them. And he
He
hasn't
looks
hit
younger.
puberty, I think. He's not like them thinking different. They don't have their hormones all over the place. He's still a kiddo.
Yeah.
And that's why he still wants to play all these kids game, and he got really upset and he left.
Yeah.
And then he went and destroyed his little shire, whatever little house he had built in the back of his house, kind of like
his
in
little
the
house
forest.
in the woods.
Yeah, the woods.
Yeah, that house was pretty cool though. But yeah, he got all mad because they didn't want to play with the game with him anymore. They're just concerned about the girls and everything, and just saying we're supposed to grow up and get girlfriends. You think we're just gonna play games in our basement forever? He's like, yeah. And then we go back to Erica and the crew whenever they went down in the elevator, and then they ended up breaking out. Whenever the guys came and they opened the elevator.
Oh, and when they were already down in the lab, or
Yeah, I think we also forgot to mention too before that they were spying on the people doing the shipment. And
right,
then,
so they will be able to get in.
Yeah, then they snuck in to the elevator, which they didn't realize it was the elevator at first, I don't think. And then they ended up, getting stuck in there and then going all the way down to the bottom. And they were literally stuck in there like all night until the people came in to kind of get the boxes out.
Right, and then they threw like the green thing.
Yeah,
they sold the stuff.
Yeah, they opened one. They opened the.
It was like some kind of chemical.
They opened the boxes, then they ended up using it to hold open the door, and then it broke open. They thought it was acid, and remember Erica was talking about, I'll drink it, it's liquid, I'll drink it before I die. She was like, you want to drink it now?
Yeah,
No.
that's what Robyn said, you want to drink it now.
Yeah.
After it got melted, like the acid in the floor. But yeah, it was funny how they were there, and then I guess Steve had been peeping in the elevator. The guys, when they opened, they were like, "Oh, it smells kind of, like kind of bad."
It smelled like asparagus in here.
Anyways.
Yeah, and then we go back to Nancy at the hospital. She was trying to check back up on Miss Driscoll, and then, like Miss Driscoll was
Having some problems.
Yeah, it seemed like she was okay at first, but then she ended up disappearing, and then she was calling Jonathan to come meet her up there because I think she had gone missing, right?
No, she was like having some kind of like a seizure, and then like she started like getting really really hot, I guess, like sweating, and then this all of a sudden, I guess Nancy was there, and then the lady disappeared all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's when the mind flares start coming to
Yeah, because she called Jonathan and was all freaking out about it, and then he ended up going to meet her at the hospital. Yeah, well, 11 and Max ended up going to meet up with all the other kids, and then they were telling them about Billy and the girl and everything, and
What girl?
Heather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
No, 11 and Max went to bed and they let it be.
I know, but eventually they did go to find them.
Yeah, but Will is the known story. Yeah, Will talked to Mike, and he told him that the mind flare was back. And then Mike started calling 11 or Max, because 11 was staying at Max's house. They were sleeping together. So Mike kept calling Max, and then Max kept hanging the phone, telling him just let it be. No, yeah, that she was asleep. So then they were like, it's important, it's about the thing. And then it's whenever they got up and they went to their house.
Like the mind flares back.
Right.
Yeah, I just remember they ended up going to the pool because it was one of the coolest parts was whenever they tried building in the sauna.
Yeah, it was kind of a brilliant idea to bring him into the sauna, because he didn't know, that was possible. Because they did that. Because Joyce did that to Will.
Yeah, they knew the heat would
it would
get
take the
it
thing,
out.
yeah, but it didn't happen actually. build is really strong. I guess because the mind flayer looks for someone that has a really strong will, which is like not a strong will, but more like a kind of like a bad. Um, I don't want to
Like
say
a
a bad
bad
person,
spirit?
but yeah, like a bad spirit. They're like, mean or
Yeah.
kind of like the way Bill actually acts towards Max and everybody else.
Well, yeah,
Like
he had
he's
a
mad
bad.
at his life or mad at everybody.
Yeah, he had a bad spirit, and he was a strong guy overall. So, yeah, he was resisting and fighting. Then he ended up breaking out of the sauna room, and him and Eleven had
Right.
an epic fight with all the weights and everything. But she ended up defeating him and throwing him out, and he ended up escaping.
Right.
Mind
Yeah.
Flayer always escapes somehow. Yeah, and Hopper and Joyce, they went to meet the was it the mayor they went to meet when they found out about the secret labs?
Yeah. Hopper went there because he knew there was only one person in the whole Honkin city that it was in a motorcycle. And Joyce knew that the guy wasn't driving a car. She told him he was driving a motorcycle. And then he said, I think I know, I seen someone driving a motorcycle.
Well, I think they had seen those two together before somehow.
No, Hopper have. Last time he was there, he even told him, who's the guy who drives the motorcycle that it was in your office? And he's like, well, I don't remember. He was acting stupid, like he didn't know.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, it's the janitor. And he's like, so how are you gonna be in the office with the janitor having a full conversation? And then he didn't know what to say. And then Hopper caught him into a lie. And then it's when Hopper start, you know,
Yeah,
beating him up, and Joyce was outside, and then the secretary was like about to call the police, and she was like, Joyce said,
she is the police.
he is the police.
Well, they ended up finding out from him about some other properties that they were using, and they ended up going to this one house, and they ended up finding the lab underneath the bed.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever they ended up finding Alexi, which he ended up coming in useful later on. And that's when Grigori ended up showing up again. He killed one other guy, and then they ended up escaping with Alexi as kind of like their hostage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically a scientist just helping with to build the new machine.
Right, and there were the guy said, if you don't fix it, you're gonna die.
I know, but Alexi wasn't the one the guy was telling.
No, but he was there. He heard.
But after they escaped and they were talking, because the guy's Russian, they don't know what to talk about. Then they ended up, they were gonna go to Murray, and then it just showed the whole thing where they were going through the woods the next day. The freaking truck ended up blowing up and everything, and then we'll get into it a little bit later, but they end up making a long journey to go find Murray. And then Nancy and Jonathan, they went to find the kids because I think they just thought it was weird about what's going on, and they wanted to find
Will.
Yeah, because Nancy was actually trying to find where Will was, and then they found all the kids together. Then they all ended up getting into a big discussion about
the thing,
all the weird stuff that had been going on, and all the.
And even Will said it. Yeah, I've been feeling it. I just didn't want to believe it.
And then 11, with seeing her visions and everything, they decided to go see Miss Driscoll. They all went together to go see her, just to go see if they could find out what was going on and get some more information. That's whenever they went back, and then Nancy and Jonathan go up to find Miss Driscoll, and she's gone. And then that's when their boss, all the people show up. Their boss showed up. The people from the office were there. They ended up.
But let me stop you there. Yeah. Now at this point, they were not really their bosses. It was actually, they were already part of the Mind Flayer, or the Mind Flayer already
they've been flayed.
Took over them.
And then you see everything going on in the hospital, big chase and everything, and then the monster ended up combining with all the people. It's pretty gross.
That was disgusting.
It showed bones and everything. Ugh.
It's just, did you see how they're like start getting into like being part of the thing? Like they kind of like melting, like shaking and start like kind of like acid,
Yeah.
They were like kind of like melting, kind of like they're pouring acid over their body, and they're just kind of like getting into a pile of clay.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. And but yeah, Nancy and Jonathan, they both had close calls, but they ended up escaping because 11. Of course, 11 saved the day. She's had so many bloody noses. I don't know why she just doesn't walk around with just a cotton ball stuck up her nose all the time. It's just she's just always bleeding, so it's just ridiculous. She ended up throwing it out the window, and then it ended up escaping through the drain, and then it ended up going back to the mill. And then we get back to Steve and company, and then they ended up going to they ended up going through all the tunnels and everything. And then Steve and Robyn ended up getting captured because they
By
go.
the Russians.
Yeah, they were like exploring and going through. They ended up seeing the machine, and then they ended up getting caught. Steve and Robyn get captured, but Dustin and Erica escape, and they actually end up saving them later on and breaking them out. But it was funny whenever Steve and Robyn were captured, then they ended up hitting with the truth serum and stuff, and they were just like, they just had their moment when they were tied up together.
Was it being stupid?
No, whenever Steve was like, no, whenever Robyn was kind of like basically trying to say that she was flirting, but Steve took it like that. And we ended up finding later on that she actually liked somebody else. Dustin and Erica ended up finding them and rescuing them.
After they got beat up.
Oh, they got beat up really bad.
Especially Steve.
Yeah, I mean,
they whooped him.
They were beating his butt pretty good.
One part where he said, "Do you really think I'm gonna be spy wearing these sailor clothes and working at the ice cream named Chip Ahoy?" What's the name?
It was Chips Ahoy?
Scoops Ahoy?
No, Scoops Ahoy.
Scoops Ahoy.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you really think I'm gonna be wearing these if I was a spy?"
I mean, it could be a good cover. Right? Maybe?
You never know.
Yeah, and then we get to Hopper and Joyce, and then we get to meet back up with Murray, and that part was pretty funny. Whenever he went to get the food, and then he got the drink, and then Alexi was like, "It's strawberry. I want cherry."
Yeah.
Remember when Hopper was saying he needed to help him, and he was like he wasn't gonna do it unless he got his drink.
Unless he has strawberry.
Yeah, and he gave him the keys and was like trying to fake him out, like he's not gonna leave. And they were like,
yeah.
Hopper, he's getting in the car, he's turning it on, he's driving away.
Yeah, but Hopper had all calculated. He knew that this guy wasn't gonna go anywhere, especially because when he was in the what's it called, in the forest or in the when they were in the woods, he didn't try to escape. He could escape whenever the truck got broken. He could have started running and tried to escape, but he didn't. Yeah. So Hopper was like literally studying this guy since then. He knew that this guy didn't want to go back to that place where they had him.
I mean, Hopper can be kind of a jerk anyways too, sometimes. But
we all know that.
Yeah, but Murray was actually very helpful because, I mean, he knows full Russian, so he basically was talking to Alexi, and they were on good terms and everything, and Alexi ended up giving them all the information about what was going on, what they were building, what they were trying to do, open up the portal. But yeah, Alexi ends up giving them all the information about the machine they were building to open up the portal to the Upside Down, which I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
Of having the monster come back in. I mean, you're going to control it or anything.
Well, I think they might have thought that they can control it and use it as a weapon, to destroy Americans or...
Yeah, it could be possible. I don't know exactly what their intentions are. I don't think it ever explained it either, exactly what their intentions were.
I was kind of confused, and especially the way that it ended too. I never understood. Because they never said anything. I mean, obviously they're gonna leave it apart,
Yeah, it was just weird just to open up with the Russians. It's like all of a sudden we're going to introduce Russians, and it doesn't really fully explain why. I don't remember exactly why it did that. After 11, threw the mind flare out of the hospital and everything, and then they regrouped, and then they were using 11 to spy on Billy to find the mind flare, and that's whenever she kind of tapped into his past, I think, a little bit, and then he ended up like seeing her, and then the mind flare was able to figure out their location.
Right. Figure out where she was.
That was that cool. I think that was that cool part where she was like on the beach, and then it showed like the kind of like wind flare in the distance. That was a pretty cool image, I thought.
Mm. Yeah. Is it when he was with his mom? She was giving him that vision or like a flashback of his childhood about his mom.
Was it that part, or was it when it was his dad? Because I think his mom, that came at the end whenever he redeemed himself. I think it was showing like the part where his dad was being mean to him. All the rest of the flayed people going back to the mill, and then they all ended up like falling and dissolving, and that's whenever the mind flare ended up getting really big.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, because that's when they were, the kids and everybody, they went to the cabin, right?
Yeah, they were trying to escape. They were actually trying to hide, but since the mind flare already, Billy had already touched 11.
Because it actually shows, it actually shows Heather's parents too. They end up getting dissolved into the mind flare.
Right, everybody.
Right?
Yeah, because the guy died. They kill him. And then they kill the other guy too, the one that it was one of the mean ones to Nancy.
Yeah, that's also, I think his name is Gary. That's Gary Busey's brother. I think his name is David Busey. He's like a famous guy. I couldn't remember his name earlier, but...
Oh.
But the rest of the flake people end up falling and dissolving and turning to the mind flare, and that's when the mind flare ended up going and attacking them at the cabin.
But I think that was the whole point of the mind flare, getting all these people
just to get bigger.
Just to get
bigger and stronger.
Because he needed
and to take a physical form.
Right, and plus. You know how in the other episodes they have a worm inside and they start acting kind of weird, and well, this time it's kind of like that, but it's more different. Because they're trying to feed. They feed on human or on.
It was like chemicals and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they feed on your. I think in your inside, whatever you have.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I don't remember. But yeah, that's whenever they got attacked at the cabin, and then of course 11 is able to fight it off like she always does, but then she ends up getting wounded in the leg. Remember that part?
She got bit in the leg, and then the mind flayer left. I don't know if it was a piece of bone inside her.
It was like a piece of it was inside her, and you could see it like moving around. And
it was a teeth though. It was like a bone. Like when he bit her, it was a bone in there, like the teeth, and then they start growing whenever like his juices and stuff, and start growing inside her, and then her legs start kind of like getting really nasty looking.
Yeah, and that's.
And I'm sorry. At one point, like it seems like the thing was trying to take over her body. I think that was the whole thing they wanted to do, like take over her. Because after that, she
lost her powers. Yeah.
After the bit.
Yeah. Then they ended up going to a supermarket. They ended up going somewhere so they could get supplies to.
It was Joyce, where Joyce worked, and the little kind of like.
I don't think it was where she works, because it was like a supermarket, wasn't
it? It's where Joyce works.
Oh. Well, if it was
where they went and cured her the bit, yeah.
Well, if it was or if it wasn't, they ended up going to a store to patch her up, and then that's whenever they found the fireworks, and it was who was it that had the idea for the fireworks?
Lukas.
It was Lukas, and was it Mike or Will? I think it was Lukas and Will, because I'm pretty sure Mike was was
With
trying
11.
to patch up 11, you know, be all nice and sweet so she'll get back with him.
Why do you have to do that?
And then finally Dustin is able to contact them on the radio. I think he had been trying to contact them, but of course he was underground, so he didn't have any
reception?
Yeah, he didn't have any reception, so he was finally able to contact them and find out their location. And then I think that's whenever they ended up heading back to the mall so they could all meet up.
Yeah, because he was like, we're at the mall. And that's why everybody just started heading that way. And they got there and the Mind Flayer was following them.
Yeah, I think they got there in time because that's whenever Billy got there, and then they ended up hitting them with the car.
No, that was after. They were trying to leave. When the Mind Flayer got there, everybody was trying to escape. Yeah,
because I remember Nancy and Jonathan, right? They ended up smashing Billy's car when he went to hit them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we might be a little bit out of order. We haven't seen it in a few weeks, so forgive us if we're kind of getting things a little bit out of order. I have some notes and some bullet points, but
we're trying to do our best.
Yeah.
To remember everything. I know we should have probably watched it the whole season before we start doing this video.
Well, it's kind of hard though because
we have different schedules
and everything. But yeah, we end up getting back to Steve and Robyn because after Dustin and Erica got him out, they left him in the movies, but they ended up running out because they're freaking high now.
Yeah.
After the
and Eric actually Dustin asked Erica to keep an eye on them, and Erica did a horrible job watching them, you know, for them not to escape because they were high as a kite. And when Dustin came back and he was looking for them, he went to Erica and he was like, "Where they at?" And she was like, "Oh my God, they were just there," but they were actually in the bathroom.
Yeah, throwing up.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that you wanted to say.
Yeah, that was the big reveal. They had their moment that the whole time Steve thought that Robyn was talking about him, that she liked.
That she was into him, but she wasn't.
Yeah, but she was actually jealous of the girl who actually liked Steve. So come to find out that she actually liked this other girl that liked him. So
yeah,
that was the big reveal, the big swerve that we thought that she actually liked Steve, and then he was like, "Oh, because I actually start to like her now."
You're right. Yeah, I mean, it would be too predictable, you know, like, because everybody, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody was thinking, oh, they're going to end it up together.
Oh, I definitely did.
But I guess it was a big turn.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it could still happen in season 4. You don't know. She can change her mind and say, you know what, I like boys instead of liking girls. I mean, you don't know.
Or both.
Anyway.
Then we get to Hopper and Joyce, and they went to the fair. I can't remember exactly what. I think they went to find the mayor again, right? Or they thought the kids were at the fair.
No, Joyce and Hopper, they were heading towards the
mall.
Since they were down in down in the lab. When they came out, they were. Joyce was worried about Will and stuff, and she never thought that they already knew, so she was trying to look for them, for Will, about to say, kind of like to award them warn them about the Mind Flayer back.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember why exactly they went to the fair. Did they go because they thought the kids were there, or
yes, because the kids that were gonna be there, and I think they're gonna be with Nancy's parents.
Yeah, again, we don't remember exactly all these parts. I mean, it could have been that, or it could have been that they were gonna go back and confront the mayor again.
No, they were actually back because of the kids, especially because Joyce said the kids are at the fair. And then I remember in that episode when Joyce actually got to see Nancy's mom and asked where the boys sat. And then Nancy's mom said, I haven't seen them. They haven't, they haven't got here yet.
Yeah, and then we got to see the mayor, Klein. That was his name. And he actually alerted the Russians because actually earlier earlier in this episode, or one of the episodes, the Russian had actually come back to him and was like, you need to take care of this guy. He was talking about Hopper, and Klein was like, I'll take care of it. But so they were in communication the whole time, because Klein ended up calling him whenever he saw Hopper and them at the fair.
Well, he actually told him whenever you see him that he needed to call him, so he will take care of Hopper. And then the guy showed up, and he saw that Alexis was there, and he went and killed him.
Yeah, it was kind of sad because Alexi was having fun. He was like winning stuffed animals and stuff, and he was actually having a good time.
Acting like a little child, never had anything.
Yeah, instead of fearing for his life and everything, he was actually kind of forgot about him and was just like enjoying himself. So that was kind of sad to see him get killed. But yeah, Joyce and Hopper actually ended up finding out that that the Russians had actually sent people to kill the kids at the mall. And then that's whenever it was Dustin, Steve, what's Lucas's? Just forgot her name.
Erica.
Yeah, Erica and Robyn and Steve and them, they were there, and that's when the Russians were coming to kill them. And then that's when 11 came, and she threw the car at him, right, with her, or she didn't have her powers, but I do remember, thought she did use a car to hit him with.
But that was before.
Maybe she hadn't lost her powers yet, because I do think I remember her hitting them with a car.
But that was before in the other. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, she hasn't have lost her powers then. Afterwards is when she lost her powers.
Yeah, if we're remembering it correctly, I thought I remember her hitting the guys with the car, and then that's when she was like acting like she was really hurt, and then that's when they took it out, and then I think that's when she really lost her powers.
When they took the thing out of her body. And she actually took it herself, because who was the really one who was trying to take it out? It
was Jonathan.
Jonathan was trying to take it out, and then she was like, let me do it. And she started using her power, trying to pull it out.
Yeah.
And it's when she pulled it out, and then Hopper step on it.
It was pretty nasty, because he got like a knife or something, was heating it up, and he was like cutting, he was like digging with his fingers. I was like, that's so gross.
Oh, because he doesn't like blood. I don't like blood, but I mean, he's more.
That part was gross to me. She did still have her powers until they took it out.
Until she took the thing out. Yeah.
And that's when Hopper and Joyce had showed up with Murray to kind of save them too. And then they all got together and they figured out their plan. Dustin was going to go with Erica, Steve, and Robyn, and they were going to go to the tower, because they were going to kind of use the radio, because they had already been down in the tower. They had already been underground.
Right.
And they were going to
kind of like... They already knew how to get there.
To navigate through there.
Right.
But they needed a stronger signal to be able to communicate underground, so they went up to Dustin's satellite tower. Yeah, so they kind of split up. Yeah, and then Hopper, Joyce, and Murray were going to go down in the tunnels to try to shut down the machine. And then the rest of the people were just going to stay there, right? The rest of the kids?
Yeah, they were going to stay and wait for them until the Mind Flayer showed up.
Yeah, or if the Mind Flayer showed up, I guess they were going to try to fight it or hold them off. I don't remember exactly what the plan was with them. And then that's whenever we see the big Mind Flayer show up. How big was that Mind Flayer? Like the size of Godzilla, right?
I think so. It was pretty big. I mean, it was pretty big when he started crawling into the, remember, in the glass?
Yeah, he was as tall as the mall.
Yeah, it was like up in the glass, and then just kind of like, he just stepped on the glass and kind of pushed down and fell down and was making big havoc, chaos and stuff.
Yeah, and that's whenever Billy had actually got a hold of 11 and was like holding her down for the Mind Flayer, and then they started using the fireworks.
Yeah.
Which that was pretty cool.
Yeah. It was funny how they were like just throwing them, and then they were like, oh, we're running out of them. kind of like this is the last one?
No, it was just kind of cool how it was like a big spectacle. It was like a big light show and everything. I think the effects and everything they did there, I thought that was pretty cool looking. But then they ended up running out of the fireworks, and then that's whenever, Billy was gonna give 11 to the mind flayer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then 11 ended up tapping into his mind, and then that's whenever he ended up seeing his mom and ended up having the good memories about his mom and everything, and then he ended up stopping the mind flare and he sacrificed himself to save 11.
Right. Yeah. It was sad. I mean, it's not that I never liked his character. It was just too harsh, you know. I guess you can say something like that about a kid that is, you know, their parents are very mean and harsh to them. You know, they grow up and they're like him.
Yeah, I mean, his mom, from what we saw, was nice, but his dad kind of made him jealous because, he remarried, and then Max was kind of just forced on him. You have to take care of Max, and you have to be a good brother because, I'm with this new lady, and to get in her good graces, you need to be nice to your little sister. So he was never really nice to Max because he felt like she was forced upon him.
Yeah, I guess so. He just felt like he was being replaced, pretty much.
Yeah, because the dad was nice to the girl and the mom, but never to him.
Right, never to him.
Yeah, the dad was really mean.
So he felt kind of like, left out.
And I think that's why, he would take it out on Max.
All the time.
I don't think he was a mean person overall. He was just full of a lot of anger and hate, and that was his way of taking it out, taking it out on Max.
On the Max. And actually she was like the one, it was not her fault, it was actually the dad who was like pretty much making all this havoc between them two.
Yeah, and she did care about him. You could see how she was very emotional and was crying at the end. So yeah, it was pretty sad. But yeah, we got to see we went back to Hopper and Joyce. They were trying to get into the lab, but they ended up having to it was some kind of code they needed to get in to get the briefcase for the keys. That's whenever Dustin was trying to get a hold of Susie. And I'm gonna have to read this. It's called the Planck's constant, I believe. It's like a scientific formula. It has numbers and mathematical equation and all that. And then, but he couldn't get it out of her. That he ended up having to sing the I think it was a Never-Ending Story song. That was really funny. The first time I saw it, I was like, "This is really corny," but after watching it, I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, she's the one who actually knew the numbers for the code. She was actually able to help them out, and they got the keys for the box. They went in, and came the fateful moment whenever they were gonna turn the keys. They needed to do them both at the same time. But then, of course, the stupid Terminator guy had to show up. This guy was a total for a total ripoff of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Drove a motorcycle, had the leather jacket, just had very stoic, didn't really say much.
Poker face.
Yeah, but then
he started fighting Hopper.
Yeah, him and Hopper ended up fighting. They actually went out where the machine was and started fighting, and then Hopper ended up throwing him into the machine and disintegrating him. But then he was stuck. Like, oh crap.
Yeah, he got stuck, and Joyce was trying to wait for him to get out, but then he'd shake his head to Joyce like he wasn't gonna be able to make it.
Yeah, he there was no way he was gonna be able to get back in, because there was a big explosion after he threw the guy into the machine.
Right.
And he was trapped in there, so.
And then Joyce grabbed her belt.
Yeah.
And then, she kind of managed to...
So she could turn both keys at the same time.
Right. So, we never saw that Hopper actually died. We did saw that there was other people that it was in there. Or they were about to get in there?
Yeah, they were breaking the door, yeah.
How do you call that?
Disintegrated?
Disintegrated. They got, but we never saw Hopper. They never show Hopper uh, you know, something like that happened to him. They just show other people.
And the mind flare showed the mind flare get destroyed too.
Right, but it's because they closed that. They closed the gate, so that's the main. Yeah, that was the main reason why the main mind flare came out or came
was
back.
able to still be alive.
Right, because that's like the harm for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they probably didn't show Hopper die specifically for that reason. And there was even an
I'm listening.
There was even an end credit scene where they had one of the Demogorgons and they brought one guy out and they were like, no, not the American. There was one guy that was in a prison thing, but you couldn't see behind the doors; they were sealed off. So kind of gives you the impression that it might be Hopper, but I think that's a little bit too easy to like give away like that. So I mean, of course, we won't know for sure until next season if that is Hopper, if Hopper is dead or not. But yeah, we ended up seeing Hopper die. It's pretty sad, especially at the end whenever Joyce gave her the note that he had written out that he was gonna say to Mike and her, and she ended up reading it. I'm not gonna lie, I teared up at the end of that letter. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, I mean,
all the words he was saying was, sad. Everything he wanted to say, but he couldn't say because he's the big tough macho guy, and he just couldn't get his feelings out. But he just wrote them all down.
Yeah, and especially I mean, he's not like. He just started being his dad, so I guess he doesn't have experience in that kind of, and plus, he's not married, so he's not sensitive like that. So he doesn't know how to pull out those, the sensitivity of him. But
yeah, and then in the end, we ended up seeing Joyce and Jonathan, and they actually take 11 with them. They're finally moving out. Yeah, basically that's what happened. Yeah, pretty sad moment. You had to see everybody say their goodbyes, and everybody's gonna go their. Well, at least they're gonna go their separate ways. I definitely think next season they'll be back. Something's gonna bring them back together. Probably Hopper. Maybe Hopper coming back to life will bring them back together.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, because Jonathan and Nancy are not together anymore.
Yeah, it's like you're breaking up everybody who's in a relationship. Or Mike and 11 and Nancy and Jonathan but yeah, it did have a really sad ending, but I think next season we'll come back and something will happen to bring it back together. But
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure some dummy is gonna try to open that again, the gate again, and or because the mind flare is not, it's like a smoke. It's just like dust.
The mind flare seems like it's anything. It can be dust flying in the air. It can be some gross goo sliding on the ground. What is it going to be next year? We have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea. It comes back as long as they open the gate.
I don't know how much longer this show is going to go on, but we're loving it. It's been great. I know this has been a long video. If you stuck with it, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And I'm sorry we keep stopping this, but it's kind of late.
Yeah, like I said, we've only seen the show once. I tried to review it a little bit more, a few episodes, so I could remember from some of my notes exactly what happened. I mean, if we missed some important parts, we're sorry about that. But yes, if you don't mind, like, subscribe. Leave a comment if you want to. Hit the bell for notifications. And we'll hopefully in the future have another husband and wife show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye.